Hello again, Capricorn, and with a lot of the planets moving in the upper part of your horoscope this month, it should be pretty good. Notwithstanding the fact that, we all have our positive and negative transits, this is on balance looking like it's going to be a good month for you. I'm Dadhichi from astrology.com.au with November 2015 in focus. We spoke last month, and if you looked at my introduction this month, a lot about the concept of self-empowerment. And you do have the opportunity. Not that external circumstances should dictate how empowered one feels, but it's sort of, I forget that saying about, it's far better to be unhappy with a whole lot of money than unhappy with no money. Having the opportunities here, especially after the 9th and then the 13th, where Venus and Mars respectively move into your career sector. The highest part of the horoscope is excellent. Mercury is there right now, indicating great communication opportunities. You need to be talking about what you want. You need to be approaching your employers and other employers as well, because this is a period when your successes can increase. And you've had the sun there throughout September, October, and now into November. You've got the opportunity to capitalize on those opportunities. The sun has now moved into the sign of Scorpio, your 11th house, which is profits. Mercury moves there on the 2nd. That's going to accelerate and speed up those processes. And then, as I mentioned, on the, the 9th and the 13th, Mars and Venus. Very passionate. And Venus will be in its own sign, with the North Node, which has been sitting there for around the last 18 months, moving out of there shortly as well. So that's clearing up your career area. You've got Jupiter in your 9th house, which is one of the luckiest positions there. All your good karma's coming back. Is there anything negative for you, you're asking? Well, when I give all the negative stuff, people complain about it. There are some difficult aspects. You've still got Saturn moving there. Excuse me, I'm out of frame for a moment. I might just have a sip of this. Saturn in your 12th house. Underlying all this good stuff is that past karma. The past is sitting there niggling. So outwardly you may not see a lot of this stuff. This is just your internal personal sort of suffering and spiritual exercise and challenge that you have to work through yourself over time. 2.5 years to be precise. But work on that. You got Pluto there in your sun sign. We've talked about that many, many times. I'm not going to elaborate on that. Suffice to say that along with Saturn in the 12th house, you're going to be really, really working through some big stuff over this next year or two. You've got a new moon in Scorpio in your 11th house, which I'm going to bring you back to the positive news now. That's the zone of friendships, bringing with it opportunities, fulfillment of your life desires. It is a very social area of the zodiac. It's a desire house, so desires can be fulfilled. And desires you may have, especially with Mercury moving there after the 2nd. You've got, a sextile from Mercury and a trine to Pluto and Neptune. So, you're looking to do pretty interesting things. You're trying to transform yourself, transform your friends. You want to make a difference at this time. So I think this Mercury aspect is important for you. It causes you to seek out through curiosity different types of people that are going to connect with you on a deeper level, especially given the fact that you're going through a lot of the spiritual self-search, self-seeking, self-improvement, self-empowerment, which I keep coming back to the thread and the focus at the moment. So all very, very good stuff. I feel very, very comfortable telling you that. And even though I'm seeing some of those tough inner aspects, I think all this outer stuff is going to lead you towards the right sort of solutions for what it is you're trying to solve here. Neptune, again, speaking about spirituality, in the 3rd house, it's just had this opposition from Jupiter, so you could have been conflicted in your spiritual ideals versus your religious background or upbringing. That is something you have to work through and realize that your own independent thought is the highest moral authority, nothing else. You have to be free thinking in this respect. There could have been some confusion and will continue up until November 19th when Neptune moves into its forward motion at that time, giving you clarity and a sense. What you don't want is shame over thinking freely. That's the problem. You need to analyze all of the books that have been thrust upon you in your upbringing as being the absolute truth. I'm not going to stipulate or point out any specific religions, but whatever religion you've been brought up in, you need to ask yourself the hard questions. Is this actually the truth? And these are the sorts of questions that will arise under these transits. There's a full moon in the sign of Gemini, which is your 6th house of workplace, activities, co-workers. I'm getting a feeling this may have to do with health, especially if you've got all of these planets transiting your 11th house of social activity, partying, having a lot of fun. Then that could start to play out in your health. And in particular, Gemini rules the lungs and the throat, fingers and the arms, also the skin. So do take care of these areas and know when to get the taxi home. If you had a little bit too much to drink, don't overdo it. Don't push yourself too hard. As Clint Eastwood said, a man's got to know his limitations. There are some important aspects from Mercury. We've talked about that. It speedily moves through the sign of Scorpio into your 12th house to combine with your ruling planet Saturn in that 12th house. And that will take place, let me get it there, on the 21st of November, just preceding that full moon in Gemini. The full moon will be loosely in an opposition to that Mercury. Again, 6th house, 12th house, hospitals, health, one's expenditure of energy, expenditure of money. Be careful during that period. Take your time. You don't need to rush. You'll be thinking about things a lot more deeply with that conjunction of Mercury and Saturn. Mercury conjoins Saturn there on the 25th. It squares Neptune on the 25th, same day. That's a bit of a confusion. And be careful of your communications, especially with people afar. Mercury is square to Neptune, and then Mercury is positively in a very good aspect to Mars on the 26th, same day as the full moon. Mars is your friendship planet. Therefore, there can be some dynamic resolution of some issues that you may have had. There could have been some differences of opinion, all nicely resolved by that sextile aspect. Final aspect there, Sun squaring Saturn, is again confirming what I'm saying about your health, being your ruling planet, and Leo being the 8th ruler, not good. Last day of the month, you may not feel so good physically. Make sure you curtail those activities that are going to make that worse. If you need a checkup, do so, even if it doesn't seem serious. Always better to be safe than sorry. Subscribe here. I hope you do. And I hope you're here next month for more. We will continue our self-empowerment series. And in the meantime, you can join me at astrology.com.au, my website. We've got more detailed analysis for you there. Personal readings with me and my associates if you want something a little more one-on-one. Take care. See you soon. Bye-bye.